Good evening, race fans, and welcome to tonight's coverage of the Area 51 Xfinity Superspeedway Series here on Green White Checkered TV. We have 75 laps here at Talladega Superspeedway for you here tonight. It is 81 degrees in the sim, 2.65 miles in length here in Talladega, and we are ready to get this one kicked off. We are about 2.5 minutes, or maybe about more than 3 minutes now away from finding out our grid for tonight as the drivers take to the single car qualifying sessions. And yeah, ready to do battle here at the biggest super speedway maybe in the real world that we go to. Obviously, we have iRacing Super Speedway and crazy races that we've had in the past here. But yeah, we are back again here at Talladega and looking forward to this one for sure. With me tonight will be my good friend Gael Brooks. And Gael, what are you looking forward to most for tonight's coverage?
Um, I think tonight it's gonna be, say, bias aside, can we see the house car get one more step up on the podium? So, that'll be one I'll be keeping an eye on. But yeah, I don't know honestly. As I just always enjoy this track. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So honestly, yeah, I'm not sure if I have any set thing I'll be watching. What I do know though is, I'm kind of excited. We got a few new names, few new faces in the league. I saw the '07 and the '09 are here. The '07 I do know ran over in the IndyCar series on Tuesday. So it's good to see him. That's Iker Peguero in the '07, and then Farid Ayuso in the '09. And then also, I'm pretty sure he's been here before, but I think it's been a little while. The one car of Gary Bergeron. So say a few new names, new faces, or maybe some returning faces. And the one that stands out to me, though, Boomer, is the guy that won the first two races of the season, Steve Karosek. He is back on track. So we'll have to keep an eye on him for sure. And I believe of the races he's run, yeah, he's 2 for 2. So he's missed the other races, probably had some other commitments, but now he's back in business here tonight. So we'll see if he can go 3 for 3 in the races he's attended or not.
Yeah, we know he mentioned, I think in some of the other interviews we had for those wins, that he wasn't going to be here full time, but he will be here when he can. And obviously, like you mentioned, love to see Jerry back in the car in the number one. Should be still supporting the Harley Davidson scheme, it looks like tonight. And yeah, a couple new names. Appreciate the '07, the '09 coming out for Reed Eicher, and obviously Jasper Riza grabbing the win last week. From obviously he was just randomly perusing the iRacing leagues, never had done it before, and he just joined Brandon Briggs, who happened to have his spotter seat unlocked, and obviously now he is a series regular and a race winner. So a lot of fun. Love to see us being able to grow the league here at Area 51, and have more people to compete. Looks like it'll be a pretty decent sized field for tonight. At least a couple pages on the grid to scroll through. So we've got a bunch of people already chiming in for the broadcast, so we appreciate that. NMPS obviously is Iker there, so we're looking forward to see him in that '07, his debut here on Thursday nights at Area 51. So a lot of regulars chiming in, and some of the crowd already chiming in, but we are just now finished with the qualifying session, so we'll get that graphic up here for you now so you can see that starting grid, and it is going to be led by TW Motorsports' own Dean Wilkinson, the Canadian in the number 55. He's going to grab that top spot for the starting grid for tonight. Tom Dixon is going to be to his outside. And yeah, should be. We got actually Jack Wallace coming back too. I think he's had a couple weeks off, so good to see Jack back in the car there, so he'll be in the number 83 machine inside of row number 2. Carl Lingle with a great start for the Blind Squirrel Racing driver. He's going to be outside of row 2, as I mentioned there. Eric Laurie starting inside the top 5 for tonight, and back-to-back Blind Squirrel Racing teammates in the outside row. Jeremy Osborne in the 41 is going to start third row there. Farid Ayuso, he's going to start in 7th place, respectable starting position for him for his first race here. And then he's going to have Nick Wing to his outside in the number 28 machine. Jerry Bergeron comes back to us as well. he's going to start to the inside of Nathan Warner to round out the top 10 for your grid. Frank Ranger Jr., also of Blind Squirrel Racing, is going to be starting in the 11th position on the inside of row number 6. Steve Carosa coming back. Guile, as you mentioned, looking for his third win in 3 starts so far this season. Definitely a dominant one for him. Unfortunately, not able to make the rest of the races in between, but he will definitely be one that we will be trying to watch as we get into this one. You see Gabe Butler there. He's got a time there, but quite a bit slower, so not sure exactly what happened on that qualifying lap there, but effectively he'll be the first car to more or less qualify without a time. And Patrick Groover in the number 54, he's going to start on the outside of row number 7. Matt Wagner, the house car, Green White Checker TV's own, he is going to be in the 11, trying to improve upon his second place finish earlier this season at Atlanta. Seth Groover is going to start just behind his brother Patrick in the outside of row number 8. And Jim Brooks making his return. Took about a week off there, and really glad to have him back in the field there in the inside of row number 9. Rick Sanchez will start to his outside. Jasper Riza for Team Underdogs there in the inside of row 10. Ambrose Kniebel inside the top 20. The rest of these names not taking a qualifying time, but Bob Fitzgerald and Iker Peguero. As we see Iker, first start for Thursday nights here for him in the 07, and then Adam Kilday and Brandon Briggs to round out row number 12. And the starting field for us tonight. 75 laps is the scheduled distance, and we are just about ready to throw the green flag. We'll be looking to see fuel range in around, I think, what is it, about the 19 to maybe 22 laps or so there, Gael. We're looking forward to see how that strategy plays out, and we'll have some fun here, I think, tonight for these 75 laps.
Yeah, I think probably pretty much a guaranteed 3-stopper. I've seen sometimes it's been a 4-stopper, but I think that's more on the truck side of things. So I think that'll be the one to keep an eye on too. It'll be the pit strategy. And then oh man, yes. I say just reading the chat as well. So
yeah.
Ryan, giving you and Kayla and all of our thoughts and prayers. Sorry to hear about that, but glad you guys are back home. And yeah, my dad's doing better. So he's also back home. Got back on Wednesday. So glad that we're getting all the people back, and yeah, definitely giving you our best, man. So that's the tough one too, Boomers. I say it's everybody's got their own real life situations going on, and so this is meant to be that distraction for it. So hopefully on our end we can help. Hope you guys enjoy the race though tonight, and we'll definitely be trying to show off the wonderful sponsorship that Caitlin's got with Sensi. So Boomer, let you take it from here.
Alrighty, here we go. Up through the gearbox in these Xfinity Series cars, ready to do battle for 75 laps. Dean Wilkinson's going to lead us off into turn number 1, 2 by 2 they go.
Yes, I'm just spying around, trying to see if I see anything going on. Looks like everybody's still pretty much being well behaved. I see a couple guys kind of jumping around a little bit. I think maybe trying to jump towards the back. I think I saw the 5 of Rick Sanchez. He's gone ahead and dropped back. And I think I already see those 3 teammates actually in the Discords tonight. Matt Wagner, and Adam Kilday. They're just going to kind of go cruise control here in the back of the field early. Let the other guys dice it up early. And speaking of, we're right away 3 wide. Steve, I'm saying right on cue. Steve Krosick, Gabe Butler. And Seth Groover's not going to pass up on a 3-wide opportunity. He's going to jump along with them.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised Patrick didn't go with him, but he's obviously stuck there in the inside lane as he jumped down there. But they are now 3 in a line. There's a 4th car in there I don't quite recognize yet, but it looks like it's a 37 of Nathan Warner there on the outside. As the 32 is going to jump down to the inside now. Pretty good starting position for them, as the 411 is going to continue to hold on to that second spot in the middle now as that 3rd line has formed. And pretty much everyone else kind of holding their position there, especially in the inside lane, as Eric Laurie is going to make me wrong. And we've got a pretty solid 3-wide battle as the 55 of Dean Wilkinson just gets out of line there and gets right back in front of the 83. So Tom Dixon's actually going to come down there to the bottom. And, definitely a little bit of a sketchy situation into 3, but, 3 wide, and it's pretty comfortable here at Talladega to do that. Lap in, lap out.
Yeah, I think it was maybe the 411 was a little closer than Dean felt comfortable with. Wasn't sure if they might make contact, so he went basically just full defense there, and or maybe protect mode, if you will, and went ahead and jumped down. But man, we're getting squeezy
Yeah,
already.
this
Some of
is
these guys
already.
getting a little wiggly here, but that 27 already found his way to the front.
Yeah, 27's up in the front, 32 getting pushed by the 88 in the middle lane, and this is almost as much action as we normally see on the last, like, 5 to 10 laps, and they are absolutely battling it out here. The 37 trying to catch up to 54 of Patrick Weaver. No, Patrick's going to jump in line in the middle lane there. The 37 is going to have no help, and we'll have to start to slowly fade back. The 27, the 411, the 55 are working on the inside lane, and now the 54 is going to jump out to the third lane, and he's got help there with the that iRacing sponsored scheme there. And looks like that is the 09 of Farid Ayuso. So looking to see him try to improve his position there in the outside lane, as pretty much everybody else is double file. Couple cars, couple stragglers just kind of laying back for kind of letting that chaos kind of develop ahead of them. And we'll see how it all settles out, but it's definitely got some urgency early on in this one.
Yeah, saying, and like I said, new to the league, wasting no time. He's going to try to work that third lane in the 09 already. So either just testing the waters or already pretty comfortable with these things. But so yeah, pretty cool to see him going out after. Already heard Gabe just key up right there in the 88, saying he's getting a little wide, 4 wide. I was saying that's a welcome to the league there by the 54.
A little bit. Look at that.
Yeah.
Move.
But yeah, so already these guys talking about temperatures early on here. So it just shows, again, you're gonna have to kind of back down a little bit, be easy, be careful on some stuff. So then yeah, you'd mentioned though as well some of the drivers, like you mentioned Brendan Briggs getting a teammate now with Jasper Riza, and then both those guys getting their first win this season, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So like you mentioned Jasper last week and Thursday. It wasn't too far ago. It was the 1st of June at Talladega with the trucks that Brandon Briggs got the win. So that said, though, you see the Groovers, though, they're going to try to lock up here on the top side now. Again, we talked about how well they work together. Ooh, little connection hiccup for the 27. Looks like all's well again. But yeah, so right now, though, man, these guys are just so stacked up right now. And again, this is, I believe, one of the first races here with the new build. Wonder if that's playing a role in this or not.
Yeah, maybe. It's definitely been interesting. I mean, it's been pretty chaotic so far. I mean, obviously these guys know what this build has been, and some of the issues that it's found. As you see, the 55 is finally going to just jump out of line and let them just have their time, try not to be in any of the chaos. But yeah, it's. I mean, we've seen a little bit of some issues with that build, so I'm kind of surprised to see this much side by side and 3-wide action early on. I mean, we know Talladega is capable of it. Obviously, it is pretty comfortable to be 3-wide here. 4-wide is tight, where, you know, obviously in Daytona it's kind of a story of, you know, 2-wide is 2-wide is kind of tight, 3-wide is rather uncomfortable. So it's definitely a little bit of a different story there. But I mean, yeah, we're having some good racing so far. We've got a couple Gruder brothers linked up there. We've got a couple Blind Squirrel Racing teammates that are linked up in the middle, and good so far. About 1/10 of the way through this one is looks like the 411 is going to jump back to the back of the pack and kind of get out of some of this chaos. But I do want to mention, it does look like Jasper Riza had a moment there, according to SDK at least. It said he crashed. Not sure. That could have just been that he came to a complete stop and it registered as a crash, but he did jump to the pits, so not exactly sure what the issue would be there. Could be internet, could be hardware, but I don't think we saw any actual incident on track from the 68, so unfortunately for him, or well, more unfortunately for his teammate and Brandon Briggs as well, that he will be without Jasper for tonight. So unfortunately, last week's race winner will not be able to come back and defend his title. But we are going to stay green on the racetrack for whatever that incident was for him. And we're starting to settle out finally into single file, Kyle.
Yeah, so I went back and I looked, and yeah, he just basically just pulled over to the apron. I think it was through 3 and 4. Had to come to stop and escaped out pretty quick. It looked like so. Yeah, maybe just something happened on the real world side of things. Had to jump out and take care of something real quick or not. But so hopefully all's okay on his end. But obviously, yeah, like I said, not ideal, but at least able to get points for being in the race, if you will, almost a start and park to kind of an example. But Yeah, so that's unfortunate. Like I said, not able to defend, try to get two in a row here in the series. But like I said, yeah, just hopefully all is well on his end too. But yeah, right now things kind of calm down a little bit. So you got the Groover still running up top, the one car working together there. And also, I think I just saw a little bit of a connection hiccup. Trying to see if all's back to normal now. I thought I saw someone drop out, but not seeing it on my screen anymore. So I think all's cleared out. But yeah, Boomer, you're right though. Things have really kind of just started to settle in here. Pretty much everybody's just running that yellow line right now.
Yeah, and one group we haven't really seen much from or even mentioned or had the chance to mention that Ryan Decker brought up is where is Matt? Matt Wagner, along with Rick Sanchez and Adam Kilday, those guys are running as teammates tonight. They're just kind of hanging out. They are the last three cars here pretty much in this pack. They've got one other straggler back there with them. That is the 81 of Brandon Briggs, but they're just kind of riding around, and we'll see if they try to make their way up towards the front later on through this cycle as we get ready for green flag pit stop actions in honestly not too long here, but we'll have to wait and see. There's a little bit more, obviously understand why they jumped out of the pack, just because of all the chaos that's going on. Is we still kind of are three wide here. Obviously the only one up there is Jerry Bergeron. He's got the Nick Wing number 28 machine to his inside as he's going to tuck in there to the middle lane, but we got a new name at the front of the pack. It looks like this time by it's going to be the 071 of Eric Laurie, who got ahead of the Groover brothers and is going to jump to the bottom, and he is going to lead that last lap last time by.
Yeah, and the nice part is, like I said, he got a great push there from the 32, got to the lead, got in front of his teammates there, the 27 and the 88, and then got another big push there from the 27, which you actually saw there. That push kind of drifted him up the track a little bit. That's kind of how big of a bump that was there between them. So, but yeah, so right now all is looking pretty good. Like I said, Jerry kind of slot back in line on that second lane on the outside. And then right now I see the 09 is starting to peek back to the outside again. I think some of these guys just trying to kind of learn and get comfortable with some stuff. So right now, like I said, a lot of guys just, I think, cruise control. And also wonder about fuel mileages. There may be some, oh, look at this though. Actually, Eric's going to get split by the teammates here. Yeah. So they're going to go top and bottom. Oh, we're getting really tight there.
Carson's going to jump to the middle to defend his teammate. The Groover brothers almost got side by side 4 wide, but yeah, Team Bootnaka, the 27 and the 071 and now the 88, they're going to try and cover that middle lane, and they are defending from the Groover brothers, who have had a strong showing in that third lane. They've got Nick Wing alongside with them, or along behind them, I should say. So that's going to leave the 83 out to the lead of the inside lane, and then Team Blind Squirrel Racing teammates, the 30 and the 41, are going to be in the inside lane, as now the 88 and the 27 are going to duck down now that the 071 has a little bit more help in the middle lane, and it looks like he may be cleared, not enough to pull up ahead of the Groover brothers, who are still in the hunt, as now Patrick is going to get down the middle, and Seth is going to slowly find his way back to the middle lane, and I think that's going to fizzle out that third lane for now, but we'll see if that charge happens. I mean, if you have that opportunity to take it and you can make that move to the front, especially as we get close to green flag pit cycles, that track position is going to be huge if you can make it before you have to pit right out.
Yeah, no, this is definitely one where, again, it's like we got everybody within we got contact trouble, cars around.
Oh, we are sliding through the infield here, or the pavement on the backstretch. And it looks like Jack Walls has been a casualty of the incident there. We do stay green on the racetrack, though, and we'll try and jump back here and see if we can rewind and see if we can make sense of what exactly happened here. You see them coming off of turn 2, and it looks like Carl Lingle there sliding across his rear bumper. Oh, no, it started at the front there. The push from the 27. Jacked up pretty much that whole entire inside pack. 27 gave a good shove to Gabe Butler and everybody else, except for we're going to see the 83 was able to keep the car pointed straight, and it was just an accordion effect. Unfortunately, the 83 really did nothing wrong and had nowhere to go, and got run into from behind and ran into somebody in front of him. And I mean, that happens really fast here on Super Speedways, Gael.
Yeah, it's a little surprising to see them come unsettled like they did there, but yeah, unfortunately, I say obviously Jack getting the worst of it, but also I think losing the draft there's the 81 of Brandon Briggs as well, so he's gonna unfortunately say he's gonna have to hope for Yellow to get him back into the thick of things here as well. But the pack kind of, like I said, it kind of separated out a little bit with all that, but they've now just started to get all back aligned with each other. And yeah, just well, actually, I'm watching Brendan. He's maybe got a bit of a rope here with Ambrose Nebel. We'll have to keep an eye on that and see if maybe they can tag on to each other. So hopefully, hopefully that's the case. But right now, I think the gap is going. Yeah, I'm looking at the speeds actually. Now he's down to 170s. Yeah, no, I was just looking right now. Yeah, he's going about 170, and here's the drafts for you, Boomer. So right now, Brandon's going about 178, 179 by himself. The draft right now 197. So 20-mile-an-hour speed difference is the difference between a draft and no draft. So, but yeah, really surprising there to see the 2788 kind of just get a little bit off kilter with each other and have that moment. But what I was about to say though, like you're talking about with kind of wanting to be towards the front during pit stops is it's exactly right. Again, there's about a 1.6 it looks like gap between first and 21st. But the problem is if you pit from 21st, you're at 1.6 second deficit. So there's no promises that if you have any little hiccup during your pit stop cycle, you're already at that bit of a deficit and that could cost you the draft. So that's why you want to be up front like you're talking about.
Right, and we've documented it before where, it's about a second or so. If you can stay within a second of the car ahead of you and are not, at least getting pulled away from them, if you can stay within a second and you're about the same speed as them, you absolutely can catch up to that draft. Now, if you just caught the field or you just caught the pack and getting lapped maybe, and you're still slow, you don't have as much time to get up to speed. If that gap is quickly growing, obviously you're not going to make it. But if you can be about the same speed and can get up to about a second, you can definitely grab onto that pack. It might be a little bit longer, a little bit more time at least if they're going too wide, because that cuts a much bigger hole in the air and helps you pull that drag a little bit more. But yeah, it's about a second, and it's very easy, especially now back to 1.89 seconds to Ambrose Kniebel. If you were to have any hiccups whatsoever, you may not have any drafting help and will lose that pack. So that's where it makes a difference. And we saw a little bit of movement there. Actually, Matt Wagner, Adam Kilday, Rick Sanchez, now they found themselves at the tail end pretty much of the beginning of some of the single file action. They're back 13th, 14th on 15th. They're only about a second off the leaders, but they're trying to move a little bit further forward. And so is the 27 as he continues to jump down and cover the Groover brothers as he tries to get the 88 of Gabe Butler enough draft to get down to the bottom and clear. But we are working on lap number 18 and getting really close to these green flag pit stops. So these guys in the outside lane are either going to have to go long or they're going to have to find a way to find a hole to the inside.
Yeah, and I was just looking at the pit window right now, and so doing my very, very poor math, and basically, yeah, so if they want to split this race into 3 stops, it's going to be about 19 laps that they have to go on each run. So again, that's splitting it right on the number evenly. So of course, if they can go a little further, that'll then make the potential those second and third stops even shorter. So that's just where that strategy comes in. Do you want to try to go as long as you can, make sure you pit with a big group? Maybe you go in, like, again, you could come in this time around, come in a lap 20, and you could know at that point you can make it on 2 more stops to the end safely. So I say there's a lot of strategy that can come in here. It just really depends on which you feel comfortable, who you're working with, if you have enough people too, because if you short pit and you get separated, then you've kind of shot yourself in the foot. So you have to really be on top of things. And yeah, it looks like right now no takers for that short pit strategy right now, which it's pretty typical for what we see. We don't usually see that happen too often. But right now, the odd man out at the moment is Eric Laurie has not found an opening in the slot in yet. And like you mentioned, the 27 to 88 too, they haven't been able to find any gaps right here. You can see Eric's going to try to squeeze in front of Matt. Matt's definitely doing a solid there. Yeah, and he just called out in chat, said get on down here. So what'll happen now, though, what Matt may not realize is in doing so, now Eric's going to probably try to get the 88 and the 27 in.
Yep.
So it's going to start to push him a little bit further down the order. So this is about the time, though, Boomer, where I like to, if I've been saving and backing it down like we've seen earlier with some of these guys. Actually, here we go. Groover Brothers calling in their pit stops as we speak, so we'll see who's in, who's going to go one more.
They're going to come down pit road. It's going to be 4 of them. The Groover Brothers the 1 of Jerry Bergeron and the 09 of Farida Yuso as well this time by. So that is a good pack. It's a small pack, but it's still a good pack of
And they
4
all came in
cars.
pretty clean together. No pit penalties, I can tell you already.
Yep, no incidents getting onto pit road. Just have to mind their speed and make sure that their pit strategy is mostly aligned. Obviously, if someone's just taking fuel and someone's taking 4 tires, they're not going to come off pit road together, but we'll have to wait and see as they come down the backstretch here on lap number 21. Nick Wing now at the front of this pack. He's got Jeremy Osborne and Carl Lingle in tow. As
saying I can tell you right now, the Squirrels are pitting as well as Nick Wing, so this might be a really big group, or maybe we'll see these guys on the second pack going one more. Nope, here comes Gabe and Steve as well.
So this is going to be everybody except for 4, and there's a lockup on the front for the 27 and the 88, but they seem to get down to pit road speeds. We'll have to wait and see what if there were any penalties that came, but everybody else coming on cleanly.
Looks
other than
good.
Yeah, a little bit of heat coming in for some of the Team Bootnaka guys.
Yeah, they were hustling in there, and I can tell you though, no penalties, and so now there's 4 that are going to go the longest, and that's going to be the 3 we talked about initially, kind of rolling back there, the 11, the 85, the 5, and then Jim Brooks tagging on with those guys as well. So we'll see obviously the 4 of them in this time around. And of course, that they got to make sure of here, Boomers, that they didn't stretch it too far with the risk of having that sputter before they get to this to the pit entry. So right now, it looks like they're all coming in nicely together.
Controlled for the 4 of them, as Matt looks like he got in a lot deeper. Hopefully, no penalty there for the lockup, and they get onto pit road okay. And
that was a clear one to go, as well as a big lockup by the 51 I saw, but no penalties. So far it's a clean stop for all of our drivers this first time around.
That's good. So we're gonna see here, jumping up to this group that's coming down the backstretch into turn 3 now. The Groover brothers got linked up immediately, and they had a better draft, and they're gonna try and get around Steve Karosik, as well as the 28 of Nick Wing and Gabe Butler here. You see a little bit further on back, Jerry Bergeron and Dean Wilkinson are gonna link up. Carl Lingle, Jeremy Osborne, and Eric Laurie have found each other. Tom Dixon is in this group as well. Nathan Warner has found Bob Fitzgerald a little bit further on back. Farida Yuso is off by himself at the moment, and he is slowing down to Bob Fitzgerald, so unfortunately he may have to wait until the next group of Frank Ranger Jr. and Ambrose Kniebel, as well as looks like Jack Walls actually can try and catch up to them. But now at the front of this thing, it looks like Steve Karosik has taken over the lead. The 28, the 88, the 54, the 32, Matt Wagner and Rick Sanchez. And that group before that pit there, looks like Jerry Bergeron is going to be able to grab onto that main pack. Dean Wilkinson is there. Adam Kilday should be there as well. He's about 8/10 of a second back and is in a good shape. Yeah, I think he's catching up now. Jeremy Osborne and this crew is got a good head of steam in there, catching up as well. So hopefully these guys should be able to get back up to the lead pack, which will put everybody from 15th on up into the lead pack once again. So the first one off will be Nathan Warner and Bob Fitzgerald, as you mentioned. Farida Yuso is going to fall back a little bit more. Frank Ranger Jr. thankfully has a teammate, Ambrose Kniebel, with him. Iger Peguero, unfortunately, he came off of pit road by himself as well. He was the only one, literally the only one in the entire field to take 4 tires and fuel, and unfortunately you can see that bit of a difference. I mean, most of the pit stop times are in the 8.5 to 9.5 seconds, and Iker is over 15 seconds, and honestly that is pretty much the only difference between his pit stop to everybody else. Brandon Briggs had a little bit of an issue, it looks like, because he is quite a bit off of the pace as well. He is about 40 seconds behind our leaders, and then obviously we spoke about Jack Walls, who's catching up in this pack here, but it looks sorted out. But
I'd say I may have lost you on the voice there. Oh, there's Boomer
back. We're back. Yep.
not sure it was me or you, but
definitely me.
Yeah,
it's
we're
okay.
right now. Yeah, so right now it looks like we've got everybody up to Rick. So actually, it's a top 7 breakaway that we see at the moment. I've been trying to keep an eye. I say Adam Kilday's kind of right in that middle spot. I think he's not close enough anymore. He's fallen off where he's running just a little slower. However, we talked about that ladder that I've mentioned before. And that's what Jeremy Osborne right now is looking at. He sees that 85 car, says, all right, I might be able to jump to get to the 85 car, and then that maybe can propel us up to Rick Sanchez. And I think we're also seeing, actually, you can see the pace is actually slowing down a fair bit up front, because they just ran a 50.0, 50.1. And look how spread out they are. Look at the 88 and the 27. They're dropping back as well. I've been watching the 5. He's been kind of rolling back as well, I think, to try to pick up the 85. So I think what's about to happen here is we're going to get everybody all the way up to Jim Brooks here in 15th. I think this will become the lead pack.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if maybe those boot knockers are trying to kind of make sure they can pick up Eric as well, potentially.
Yeah, definitely that benefits them to have another teammate up in the group as well. So, yeah, from Jeremy Osborne on back, they did not have as much of a head of steam as I thought, but they're very close. And you obviously see the 88 and the 27. They should be able to fall back enough, and they kind of daisy chain it to where they're not too far away from the draft, but they give more draft to the guys behind them. And it looks like it is starting to be successful, as Jeremy Osborne is absolutely catching the back of Gabe Butler, who is still within the draft of Steve Grosick, who is within the draft of Rick Sanchez, who is within the draft of Jerry Bergeron, and the rest of the pack. But it's going to be the Groover brothers now who are leading what will be this pack of 15, thanks to some incredible sportsmanship here at Area 51. And apologies for the cutout there. That was definitely on my end. Definitely had a few of those in the last maybe couple weeks. It sounds like they've got some maintenance going on tonight for my internet service provider. So hopefully that means that some of this will happen less, and if not, we'll have to have them come out and fix a few things maybe. But definitely apologies for the hiccups there, and we are back in action. But Kyle, as we kind of get through this the second green flag run here after the first I guess stint, I really should say, second stint here after the first green set of pit stops, why don't we do a little side-by-side action and take a little breather for ourselves?
That sounds good. And so we got to show off our wonderful Sensi sponsorship.
That we do. We'll be right back.
At Sensi, we love fragrance, how it makes us feel, how it connects us to our deepest memories, how sharing those memories connects us with each other.
And as it turns out, there's a lot of people who feel the same way and share Sensi's core values of simplicity, authenticity, and generosity. Our beautiful campus in Meridian, Idaho welcomes employees, consultants, and the community year-round.
That's why we've grown from selling just warmers and wax to selling a complete line of products, so you can fill your life with fragrance no matter where your day takes you.
Whether it's fun partnerships with beloved brands, innovative, high-performing cleaning products, laundry care that smells as good as it works, or personal care products to create your signature scent, Sensi products are made to share.
Maybe that's why our culture has always felt like family. We call it Sensi Spirit. It's a feeling of love, acceptance, generosity, and community that we share freely with everyone we meet. And we welcome you to experience it yourself. Like it? Buy the product. Love it? Host a get-together with your friends. Want more? Start your own Sensi business. You can earn amazing trips around the world and rewards. You can work your business whenever and wherever you want, giving you more time for the things and people that matter most. Ask your Sensi consultant for more info.
And again, thank you to Ryan and Caitlin Decker, who brought Sensi on board along with us this season. You saw the side-by-side action that allows us to have a commercial break, but not break away from the action. You still see the Groover brothers leading the race from the inside lane. Jerry Bergeron and the 41 of Jeremy Osborne are trying their best in the outside lane. Not a lot of help, but they're doing okay, holding their own right now. And this 15-car pack is starting to get 2x2. A couple Team Bootnocker Esports drivers back there. You saw the 27, the 88 go back to get the 071 of Eric Laurie, trying to have some extra teammates, or one extra teammate at least, and they're going to have a bunch of steam as they are going to jump to the outside and see what they can do to get all the way back up to the front of this one. Definitely helps to have 3 instead of just 2. And we've got some good teammate groups up here so far at the top of this pack. No more than like 2 or 3 in a team chat together, but we'll see how that teamwork makes its way throughout the night. And Ryan Decker obviously just noticing, he said it's all about pit stops and no mistakes, and I definitely think that's something that Matt Wagner would have helped me, or would have brought it up himself, or would have helped me with, reminding me with, as we talk about that often. Those pit stops really make a big difference, and you see that's why this lead pack is down to 15 drivers from that first green flag cycle. And we're probably about halfway there to the next one. Obviously, everyone pitting lap 20, 21, or 22. If you can stretch a few extra laps like Matt Wagner, Rick Sanchez, Adam Kilday did, obviously you've got a little cushion there, and that helps. Jim Brooks also the one pitting later than everybody else, so they can go to 44 and then 66, and gives them a little bit extra breathing room for maybe some strategy later on. But yeah, we'll definitely see this ramp up as everyone's trying to jockey for position a lot more. You see the Groover brothers now trapped behind the 27 of Steven Krosek, who's trying to take control of this race once again. And the Team Bootnaka Esports drivers in the middle lane now as he jumps up. They are about to catch the lapped car of Iker Peguero, and we'll put him one lap down. But the good news is that we'll put him in the Lucky Dog battle. You see there side by side with the Taco Bell 81 machine. Nod to the, I think that was the Chance 2 Motorsports Days.
Yeah, it was Truex, I want to say.
Yeah, Truex, cool scheme, and even fitting with the number and everything. So love to see that from Brandon Briggs. But so it's going to be Brandon and Iker who are going to be battling that Lucky Dog position out if a yellow were to come out. And we'll see if Iker can solely get his way back up in this pack. He should be able to latch onto the back of this one here, and he indeed will. So there'll be actually, we've got 15 for position and 17 total cars here on the lead pack as Steve Krosek continues to try and keep the 54 and the 32 behind him, but he jumps to the middle lane to protect for now ahead of his teammates, and will get that lap led that time by.
Yeah, and you're talking about teammates. Like you said, we got the 3 Bootknockers are together. We got the Groover brothers. A couple of the Blind Squirrels are all together. I see Tom Dixon and Dean Wilkinson. They're in the same Discord. They are running actually side by side as we speak. And we mentioned, of course, Matt, Adam, and Rick. And then Jim Brooks is, like I said, he's with those guys right now. But again, he's got some help as well with Nick Wing. So, but it seems like to me, I kind of feel like we'll see about fuel mileage, and we'll see maybe Jim starts to kind of switch over to working with Matt and company, just because, again, they're on the same fuel strategy. And I feel like they had, well, I feel like Matt and Rick had a good job. They got out pretty quick right with the main pack, whereas Adam had to really pedal it a whole bunch. Jim, same thing. I think he maybe locked onto the second pack, which maybe helped him not use as much fuel as well. But I wonder if maybe those guys have to adjust their pit strategy to maybe kind of help benefit Adam potentially. Because, yeah, I was thinking, it's like, if they went 2 laps the first time, if they can keep doing that kind of a stretch.
Oh, there's a bit of a moment there. Oh, the 54 is going to go around. He's going to collect his brother.
Right now, we still stay green.
32 comes back up.
Oh, that was close.
That was close with the 41. You saw, man, they were absolutely jockeying for position. Really hard. Sorry to cut you off there too, Gael, but they were battling with the 27, trying to keep him from being able to come down ahead of them. And unfortunately, the 54 gets sideways, and he is going to make big contact with the inside wall.
Yeah, he kind of drifted up out of 2, just was not quite clear, unfortunately. And so, yeah, like I said, got looped around there. And I think actually he may have just spun it around there, did a 360. Not too much damage from what I can see. We'll see if he's gonna hit. Yeah, he's gonna hit pit road. Now I was gonna say maybe he could tag onto those
nose
guys.
Damage, but we'll see.
But yeah, so the way this league is pretty much, unless something major, if it's a single car spin and it's off track and iRacing doesn't throw the yellow, it's gonna stay green. It's nothing that the admins are trying to do or not do. The 2 instances we've seen with Patrick and as well with Jack Walls earlier is just unfortunate situations where it was kind of a single car incident. It went off track, and so iRacing's like no harm, no foul in that sense. So there's been times where there's been multi-car wreck, and everybody just kind of, the way iRacing detects a boomer is if the car is almost fully sideways or completely backwards, then and they're in the racing surface, then yeah, iRacing's like, okay, we need a yellow for this. However, if there's a wreck but all the cars are still pointing forward, iRacing's like, no, everything's good. We can keep on rolling. So I say it's not a perfect system, and so what admins have done is, again, we try to stay as hands off as we can. But I say if there's a big incident where there's a bunch of cars that are involved, then it's like, okay, yeah, that should be one. But like in a situation like that, like I said, when it's off track, unfortunately for the 54 and for the 83, they want a yellow because they got kind of caught out from it. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and it seems like that happened, and everybody's kind of settled in a little bit now after that.
Yeah, that was definitely the thing that got everyone to finally settle down a little bit more. But yeah, agree with you, Ryan. There, definitely unfortunate for the 54 was having a really good night, and just just sometimes that is just racing. Obviously, they were battling incredibly hard, trying to stay ahead of the 27. Definitely, those three cars there were really controlling that race, and Patrick and Seth were trying to see what they could do to try and take that over themselves. But that control really came from the 27 and the urgency for the Gruber brothers there. But yeah, you mentioned there, I mean, it takes a car. You pretty much have to be almost 90 degrees to straight forward. So the car has to be pretty much completely sideways or facing backwards on the racing surface. But on the apron, it's a different story. You can almost spin all the way around on the apron, and a caution does not have to come out. Now, if you are, if you're stuck there on the apron, you could probably do just about donuts or burnouts on the apron, and I don't think iRacing will actually throw a yellow for that. And that's why you see there when one single car or two cars slide to the inside, especially below the yellow line on the backstretch there, you see as they come down all single file in the inside lane. If you go below that yellow line and you spin your car out or hit the inside wall, it is not enough to trigger a yellow. It typically has to be on that racing line, on the racing surface above the yellow line off of the apron. And unfortunately, two incidents there tonight will end a few drivers' nights. So Patrick Groover and Jack Walls are going to be a few laps down, having to burn those fast repairs and trying to catch back up to the field. So the 83 is going to be 2 laps down, and Patrick is going to be 1. Fortunately for Patrick, I think that might actually mess with him from the fuel standpoint. I think he'll actually have to pit once more than everybody else. Hopefully that is not the case, but I think that may be, which and honestly at that point is just further further sand in the sore there.
Yeah, and I think for him his best option is going to be just to stay off strategy. So because again the leaders are really close. Like I said, I'm expecting to see drivers either call out their pits here shortly, or you might try to see that stealthy pit stop, really just try to jump in without calling it. Here in Daytona, you are allowed to hit pit road without calling out your pit entries. iRacing iRacing Superspeedway and Atlanta, not the case because those are very tricky pit roads to get in and out of. So we definitely require the drivers to do that. So
no takers this time though.
Yeah, no takers though. So now we'll see how everything cycles through. If we get to get to this green flag pit stop to then get to that final one potentially under green, that's where my question marks start to come in. Do we see some potential guys maybe try to short fill their cars to make it just to the scheduled distance and maybe try not to go any further? I can tell you Brandon Briggs keying up, letting everybody know he's going to be pitting here in that 81 car. Again, he's the first car one down at the moment, so that's going to put the 07 potentially in that lucky dog spot. And it looks like Seth in as well, and saying they're keying up because they want to. I think they want to let the field know, hey, if I can get some extra people to pit with me, I would love to see it. But right now, the 81's looking fairly lonely here. Oh, he's got Seth and the one car.
I think he made it though. Wow, what a
save. He should be all right. Oh, the one though too hot on entry there. He's got a black flag, unfortunately for Jerry.
So the 81, actually interesting enough, the 07 is going to pit with the 81, so they're going to continue that lucky dog battle together. And it does make a little bit of sense as far as the field goes that everyone's been able to stretch at 22 laps here. When it was 20, 21, and 22 on the first pit stop, it'll be 22, 23, or potentially more. But, when you start the race, obviously you've got all the fuel in your car. You have to roll off of pit road and do an entire pace lap under yellow. Now, you're not at full speed, but it still is an entire lap at least idle speeds, slightly more with the pace car speed, as it looks like the rest of the field, except for the 11.5 and 85, are going to be in this time by. 27 leads him down, and we are too wide in pit road here, but looks like we are getting sorted And pretty clean group here for what is a pretty solid batch. As looks like Farid Ayuso is going to get off of pit road now. Nathan Warner, Bob Fitzgerald, Ambrose Kniebel, and Frank Ranger Jr. They were further back in the pack, but they pit the last time by, so they pit on the same lap as Seth Groover and others. But it's going to be Matt Wagner, Rick Sanchez, and Adam Kilday staying out, Kyle.
Yeah, one extra lap once again for those guys to some of the other drivers. So they weren't able to add a lap. Also see the respect being given by the 07 jumping to the top, letting them by, because then knowing that they're going to be pitting. So really like the respect. And you see already, you can see the communication there. The 11 in the top 5 in the middle, 85 went down low. That way there's no drama. They get down to speed nice and clean. And like you said, the group the last time I was a big group, but they did a great job getting into pit entry, no contact, anything like that. Looked like everybody hit their pit boxes really well also. So and say now it's just going to be all about kind of how well they can get organized back together. And I'm actually trying to spy back and see. And yeah, a little bit of a breakaway between that 27 and the 88.
Yeah, it looks like it. Looks like Steve Krosick and Gabe Butler are together, but they have a 2.5-second lead over Carl Lingle and company, but unfortunately not enough. I mean, obviously, incredible execution for Steve and Gabe, but 2 cars is not enough to overcome the power of a pack. So Carl Lingle, Eric Laurie, Nick Wing, Jim Brooks, Jeremy Osborne, Tom Dixon, Dean Wilkinson, and Seth Groover, as well as Brandon Briggs, are in this group here. So we'll watch and see. Rick Sanchez and Matt Wagner are very well connected. Adam Kilday a little bit further off pace, but they should have no problems getting up to speed and linking with this pack here. We'll see. Adam Kilday is going to get passed by the 88 and the 27, but that is going to help him gain speed before the rest of the pack catches the rest of these guys. And who knows, maybe that could help propel the 5 and the 11 and maybe the 85 ahead of this pack. But I mean, once again, incredible execution from the 27 and the 88 and I would even say the 5, the 11, and the 85 as well. And I mean, honestly, while we're at it, everyone in the top 13 is in a position to still be in this race. We lost a couple. Obviously, Patrick Groover was in that group, and it looks like Nathan Warner might have fallen out of that pack as well. So further on back, Patrick Groover has found Jack Walls, Nathan Warner, Farid Ayuso, Bob Fitzgerald, Frank Ranger Jr., and Ambrose Kniebel are that pack that pit later and we're further on in the back, so they're going to remain further on back there. Brandon Briggs, fortunately, is the first car 1 lap down and has found himself in that lead pack still, so he's got about a 20-second advantage over Iker Peguero and about a 30-second advantage over Jack Walls. Actually Jerry Bergeron not shown as being
I think
scored right now.
Just retired. Yeah, I think things went from bad to worse for him. Like mentioned, had that penalty on entry, and I want to say, I think he may have had an issue on pit exit as well. I'm not 100% sure. And so I went to go take a look and
jumped to the pits. So not. Yeah, go ahead. If you
just an early retirement though for the 1.
Okay, yeah. Well, the urgency is continuing to ramp up. We are 3 laps away from counting down to the finish with inside of 25 laps to go on the tower there. So we're on lap 47 right now, getting through the middle third of this one onto the 3rd green flag cycle here. Steve Krosick and Gabe Butler still controlling this race. The 5 of Gabe Butler, the 11 of Matt Wagner, and the 85 of Adam Kilday are right there, as well as the 071 and the 55 of Dean Wilkinson in the outside lane. And pretty much everybody in here has had incredible execution all night so far. And we will see if we have one more pit stop for these drivers to make it to the end on fuel. And we'll see. We keep whittling this number down further and further. We were at, I think, about 15 after the first green flag pit cycle. And now we are down to 13 with a couple of lap cars in the mix in this lead pack. So have to wait and see. And Ryan mentioned it earlier in the chat, but it's about those pit stops. It is about no mistakes. And it is about making sure that you are coming in and out with drivers that you can draft with and have some, more than at least 3 or more cars to be able to keep making progress, even if you may make a small mistake.
Yeah, so I was watching that second lane, like you'd mentioned with Eric and Dean, and so you talk about teammates, and so obviously the boot knockers are almost fully lined up together. Obviously, right now Eric on the top side, but now you've got Dean and Tom Dixon. They're working together. They are lined up. So say and we still have the 5, the 11, and the 85. But so Boomer, we've got a big window now for that pit window at this point. So again, we talk about that 20-ish or so laps that these guys can go on fuel. So we've seen, like you said, roughly about the 20, 21, 22 or so. Then of course the 44 or so. So they can go all the way to about probably 11 laps to go on fuel. But again, though, they could short pit and say, you know what, I'm going to jump in with 20 to go. And at that point, we know we're good to the end with maybe and not have the extra window for green, white, checkered, but maybe look at short pitting this thing. Because again, this track in Daytona, you can pit here without losing a lap. And then, of course, if a caution does fall, then you can cycle around to the front. I say, again, you never know if it's going to have a green flag run to the end or not. Right now, it has. We had 2 incidents that haven't brought out yellows, but I don't know, man. I kind of, if you can have the groups to work it with, like I said, if you got a big enough group, I kind of like the idea of trying to go off strategy, just putting the bare minimum to make it to lap 75 and then force everybody else's hand. But I just don't know. Like the ones that stand out to me are the 5, the 11, and the 85. If they could do it, I feel like they would be a good option to try.
Yeah.
Or of course the boot knockers. But I like going off sequence though. That's just kind of my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, we've definitely seen Team Boot Knocker do that in the past and have success with it. I mean, we've seen other guys do it as well. Obviously, it's not just limited to them and the success that they have had in this league. But it, like you said, Guile, once you get to 20 to go, I think 20 is plenty. Obviously, if you're pitting with 20 to go, realistically, by the time you cross the stripe, you're actually only got about 19 laps, and that is more than enough fuel. Obviously, we can go a lot later. I mean, pretty much everybody in the field can go to about lap 65 at the very least, which then gives you, 10 laps to the end. So you could pit 10 laps early, and you never know if you do pit and something were to happen, the yellow were to come out. Obviously, you can just wave around. Save a little bit of fuel in case there is a green, white, checkered later on, and you can make sure you have enough fuel there. That definitely would be reasonable, because then you leapfrog the field and you would get to the tail end of the lead lap of all the cars who did not pit, but you'll still be able to pit and be there up at the end. I mean, it's not unreasonable to think that someone outside of the top 10 could even try to win later on in a green, white, checkered attempt, depending on what happens there. Ooh, yeah, a little squirrely moment there for the 411 and the 41. The 411 and the 41, as the 27, the 88, and the 071 are still kind of managing the gaps between the inside and the outside lane, but we are pretty solidly too wide here in this 15 pack group. It's 14 cars now with the lap car of Brandon Briggs.
Yeah, and yeah, Ryan likes the short pit idea, and I'm still not opposed to it. And saying I'm not going to say contradict myself, but there's also another strategy in here as well, because right now, I mean, these guys are running quick, don't get me wrong, but they're not running blistering lap times where they're locked on, pushing and shoving. Like there's a little bit of gap being given here and there. So if you are in this pack, again, if you pitted the latest like Rick and Matt and Adam, you could maybe, once again, save a little bit more fuel here and just save throughout this entire green flag run. And then from there, you can even take maybe a little bit less fuel than you would originally. So there is a strategy as well to run long where you can save fuel this entire green flag run. And again, maybe the way it is in iRacing, obviously, Boomer, and for those maybe aren't aware, you can't put like an exact amounts of fuel in these cars. So it's always a range. I think it's like 1.7, let's say 3.4 or 5.3.
Yeah.
There's like a range of how much fuel you take. And of course, the more you need to put in, the longer it's going to take. And so, like I mentioned, if you want to just risk it and say, I only want to get to lap 75, no further, then maybe it puts it where you can actually bump it down one of those fuel settings and put, you know what, I only want 5 gallons instead of 7 gallons. That's going to maybe save you a second or two. And if you and all your teammates can do it, you can maybe try to see if you can sneak away from the rest of the field. And so there's a potential strategy in that one that I've also seen some drivers play out.
Yeah, anything can happen. Obviously, it's been we haven't gone without incidents. We have gone without yellow flags so far, as we are 21 to go. So by the time you come back around, get your pit stop, you will have about 20 laps there to get to the end, which pretty much means the fuel window is open here. It would definitely be tight, and a few more laps will help, but the window is open, especially if you want to try and be aggressive. But Eric Laurie, the 411 and the 41, are in the outside lane trying to improve their position before what should be the final pit stop of the night. The 27, the 88, and the 5 still lined up in the inside lane. The 11 and the 85 still holding on to the rear bumper of the 5 like they have all race long. And a few more stragglers further on back in this pack are just waiting it out to see what will happen on this final stop here. Patrick Groover is leading the pack that is about 35 seconds behind our leaders. He's got Nathan Warner, Farida Yuso, Bob Fitzgerald, Frank Ranger Jr., and Ambrose Kniebel in tow. I believe they have Jack Walls and Iker Peguero in their group as well, and that pretty much brings you through the entire running order, as we are still 2x2, now only 4 rows back. 5 if you count the 81 running in the outside lane way out there as the lucky dog position right now.
Yeah, and I was saying, and yeah, so I think right now Jack and Patrick are on the same strategy because they both pitted about 21 laps ago. So, and say Jack actually just called out now that he's going to be pitting this time. Yep, Patrick's going to come along with him here. So they're going to pit together. Like I said, they're trying to make the best of a bad situation. And again, I mean, what's going to happen is Patrick will fall 1 lap down, and then Jack's going to fall 2 down. But like I said, though, they're in the window. They can make it to the end. So from here, if something happens, they could both stay out, get the wave around, and get at least that lap back that they were on. So yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, it seems like right now, I think these guys are just going to run this thing out as far as they can. But like I said, I'm going to be curious to see, do we see any green-white checkered strategy? Do we see any short pit strategy and all that? What I am watching here is I want to keep an eye on the boot knockers here. They all jump to the top side here together. I think what we're seeing here is they want to get to the back. They want to pit without anybody seeing that they're going in and be able to try to jump in. So it's a risk versus reward here, Boomer, because they're going to pit. Looks like my suspicion is they're going to pit early here.
Yeah.
But they're doing this to make sure that nobody can jump in with them. So I would expect to see the 88, 27, and 071. Oh, actually, I hear Jack Walls and too hot an entry for Patrick Groover. So now, unfortunately, Jack rolling solo. So, yeah, risk versus reward here, Boomer. So they'll be able to pit and possibly nobody jump in with them. However, they're now going to be pitting probably about a second back from the field. And the one driver I saw that dropped back with him is Seth Groover. Saying, no, let me do this.
Yeah, as the 5, the 85
here we go.
Be in with the 11 as well. And Seth Groover is going to try and jump up ahead and see if he can get to the rear bumper of these guys. No, he doesn't. He slides and hits the inside wall. And that is going to be detrimental for the 32 as the 5, the 11, and the 85 look to make their final pit stop without any issues. Jeremy Osborne is going to pick up the lead with Tom Dixon, Dean Wilkinson, Carl Engel, Nick Wing, your current top 5. And we'll keep an eye on everybody else as they make...
I can tell you those 3 come out right together.
Oh, yeah, guaranteed. The 85's been a little bit of a straggler to the 5 and the 11, but actually Matt Wagner's going to come off first, and you can see they are completely tight to each other, and they are going to be getting off pit road very, very well. That could be a strategy that helps them leapfrog some of these guys in this pack, as a lot of cars are going to be coming in this time by... It's going to be Gabe Butler, the 55, Dean Wilkinson, who slides all the way through. Maybe a penalty.
He's good.
He's good already.
He got it
down.
Wow,
that was a hot entry for Dean Wilkinson. Tom Dixon, Eric Laurie are also in this time by, and that is going to leave it to Carl Engel, Jeremy Osborne, Nick Wing, and Jim Brooks, as well as, again, the lucky dog candidate at the moment, the 85 of Brandon Briggs, who will be waiting to come down pit road. 16 laps to go, and you see Seth Groover coming off there by himself, unfortunately. Gabe Butler is going to get out ahead of this pick. Tom Dixon spins on the cold tires out of the pit lane, and he is going to have to back it up, but he may be able to catch back up to Dean Wilkinson as he comes off together, but may not have enough momentum. So Carl Lingel is not going to pit this time by. These guys are going to stretch it out as far as they can. Jeremy Osborne, Nick Wing, Jim Brooks, again, the reminder that that group is together. And you'll see Matt Wagner, Rick Sanchez, and Adam Kilday pitting first. They are going to get ahead of the Team Boonaka Esports teammates of Gabe Butler and Steve Karosik, and they may actually be able to stay ahead of them in the draft. Gabe Butler, Steve Karosik, only the two of them. It is 1.2 seconds to the rear bumper of Adam Kilday, and they are very much in danger of losing that draft. It looks like they may be able to catch up. Oh man, just barely are they going to be able to catch up to those guys with great pushes from the 27. But Eric Laurie is not going to be so fortunate. He's going to have to fall back to this pack here of Nathan Warner, Farid Ayuso, and Bob Fitzgerald, who have not yet pit yet. So that's going to be very difficult for Eric Laurie, but that should mean that 5 cars are in the running between Matt Wagner and Steve Karosik behind the drivers who have not pit yet.
Yeah, and I think what we saw there, what kind of gave that lifeline to Gabe and Steve. I mean, obviously the great pushing, but I have a feeling what happened there was the 5 car was pushing Matt for all he was worth, but got too hot, had to back it down and said, "All right, I can't push, otherwise I'm going to risk blowing up." So Adam had to take over on the pushing duties, but that sequence right there, that's what pretty much guaranteed the 88 and 27 to get back on there.
Yeah.
And what I can tell you is I'm looking at pit stop times, and I think it was exactly like I said, with those 3 able to pit later, they only put about 6 seconds of fuel in. The 88 and 27 were about a second longer of fuel putting in their cars. And so I think that was a big difference right there on the fuel strategy for those guys. And like I said, it didn't quite pan out for them to be able to jump them, to ditch them in the draft. And again, I'm also wondering for those pit stop times, is that a gamble to make it with green-white checkers? Is that just the bare minimum to get to lap 75? The issue, though, is, well, actually, no, they picked up the pace a little bit. I was worried about those top 4 or so, but actually they've been running kind of mid-50s right now, about 50.5 or so compared to 50.3. So only 0.2 off, but now I'm looking at that lead pack, and they're starting to get a little bit disorganized, and that's going to cost them a ton of time right now. So I'm saying this is, I think, the time to pit, and I like the call by the 28 and 51, 81. I think they're starting to go the wrong way and say, okay, let's jump in now.
Jim Brooks is on pit road, 28 of
Yeah, he's good.
Wow, that was
the
close
37 was too hot on entry, though. I can tell you, Nathan Warner, he's got a hold.
Yeah. Brandon Briggs is in this time, too, so it just leaves Carl Engel and Jeremy Osborne. They do have a third with them, the 411 of Tom Dixon, so that helps quite a bit. But one interesting thing I wanted to note is we've got through this pit cycle, Matt Wagner has the help of the 85 and the 5 of Rick Sanchez. That's 3 cars to Team Boonaka's 2, as they lost Eric Laurie in that draft there. And you can see the 28, they're going to come out well behind what should be our eventual leaders there. As you see them get passed off of pit road there. Further on back, Farid Ayuso and Bob Fitzgerald, Iker Piguero are all in this time by. And Carl Lengel and Jeremy Osborne are continuing to wait it out and see what they can do when they try to stay out. They are definitely losing a lot of time to that pack of Matt Wagner and company. They're losing about 0.6 of a second. So at this point, I think it was definitely smart for Nick Wing and Jim to come pit when they did, because they were starting to lose time. But unfortunately, Carl Engel and Jeremy Osborne are still out on the speedway and still bleeding time, and that is unfortunately going to probably mean that they will not catch back up to the leaders when they come back out. But have to wait and see.
I think they're in this time.
Yeah, hopefully that is not the case, but it's definitely a possibility. As we'll have to watch and see them get on pit road safely, and then jump back up to Matt Wagner and company and see where they net out, as they are down on the backstretch right now. So the 11, the 85, and the 5 are together. The 88 and the 27 are in the outside lane. They've got 2 cars, and they are, pushing like crazy. Steve obviously getting a little disconnected there, probably for overheating, as we've mentioned, could be a possibility. They're going to pick up a couple stragglers, and we're going to have 10 laps to go at the stripe this time by the 07. Respectfully moves out of the line, out of the groove for them there. and we'll jump back into the mix. Yep, there you go. Ryan Decker mentions it. This is why you short pit. Definitely worked out for the 11, the 85, and the 5. It still worked out for the 88 and the 27 because they had some incredible drafting work to get back up to this group. But definitely did not work for the 071 who fell off of this pack. But we'll have to wait and see how many of these straggler lap cars are actually going to be able to hold on to this pack or not. This group of 6 with the lap car of Jack Walls is absolutely flying as far as the momentum that they have. And you'll see, I think that is actually the, now it's the 09 going a lap down with the 08, and they are going to try and merge into this pack as well. So 9 to go this time by at the stripe, and there are 5 drivers vying for an interview position tonight in the podium placings.
Yeah, and so right now, like you said, I mean, all Gabe and Steve can do here is just kind of bide their time and see, okay, what can we do and win? Because like you said, it's going to be a 3-on-2. There's kind of no question there. The outliers are, like you said, what does Jack Walls do? What does the 09? What did the 08 do? And then, like I said, it's also going to be the lucky dog battle. Because right now the 09 is in that position, but the 08's going to want to get it too. So they're going to want to be greedy. They're going to want to try to see if they can get ahead of the other if they can. I shouldn't say that. I say knowing Bob. Bob is probably one of the most mellow dudes in the field. I don't think he'll be too aggressive, truthfully, to do that. He doesn't like to affect outcomes of races. But and then again, also just there's again some new names, new faces. They may not be as familiar with how things go at the end of the race, how aggressive things can be. So yeah, there's still a lot that can happen in these remaining 8 laps. So I'll be really intrigued to see. And I think right now these guys are pretty safe to the group in front of them with the Groover brothers as well as Nathan Warner. Lap time wise, they're about 50.3s. Leaders are 50.2s, but I think distance wise, it's probably too far away for them to pick them up. So yeah, right now it's just we're going to see how well the teamwork works for these top 3 drivers. And of course, yeah, what can Gabe and Steve do? And can they maybe do a little bit of convincing for somebody else to work along with them? And then the group that kind of lost this pack, unfortunately, they are all back together. They're the 30, the 41, the 51, and the 28. So they're in their own little battle here for the top, or actually from 6th on back here.
Yeah, still
so
top
a good
10
little
now.
battle between these guys. Yeah, so not the night, maybe not. Obviously, you want to have a chance for the win, but yeah, unfortunately, they just weren't able to quite get to that main pack there. And like you said, Ryan was saying, needed to go ahead and do that short pit, and they went a little longer, but the problem was they lost too much time between that in and out laps, and that was just at that point there's just not enough time to recover.
Yeah, and I mean, make no mistake, those guys have absolutely still done quite a bit of execution to be able to be where they are on pit road, on the racetrack because of what they did on pit road there. They are 11 seconds back. Obviously, I think realistically the only issue was the fact that most of that time to me says that was them trying to stay out longer than they really needed to. Obviously, Jim Brooks, Nick Wing did not stay out as long, but still kind of had the same effect for them. So, really the only ones that did not short pit that were able to make it work were the 88 and the 27. The 071 of Eric Laurie is still kind of in a limbo land. He is 18 seconds off the pack, and the next car closest to him is 8 seconds, who also has no help. Actually, take it back. Tom Dixon and Dean Wilkinson there, 11th and 12th, are 26 seconds off the pack, and they just got linked together, so they should be able to start making a little bit more progress, and will eventually pick up Eric Laurie. But that's the execution, and we'll have to wait and see, as I know Matt tells me I always say, but he is at the front of this thing. He's got 2 teammates behind him. He's got a lap car in between them and the 88 and the 27, who are trying to settle who will finish where in the top 5 spots for tonight. 5 laps to go. We know we've seen this from the Team Bootmaker guys. Whoever gets out first in the green flag pit cycle is usually the one that they are going to push to the end. And if that's the case, Matt will have a great opportunity tonight to improve on the 2nd place position he had earlier this season in this car at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're going to come around to 4 laps to go. The 27 and the 88 still stay in line. Jack Walls again in between them and the two Team Bootnaka Esports drivers. Looks like the 88 and the 27 are starting to back up a little bit and trying to see if they can get a big run in momentum down the back straightaway and see if they can try and complete the pass and get alongside some of these drivers at the front.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to say. Gabe's starting to fall back a little bit. He's starting to try to drop back, build up some momentum. And then, the question is, when do they make the move? Do they wait to coming to the white? Do they come on the white flag? Like I said, at this point, a lot of these guys, again, they're the seasoned veterans. If you're in this pack, I want this to be between the five of us. If something happens on the last lap, so be it. But I do not want to bring a yellow out and bring all the way up to 13th place back into this race. So that's what I'm going to be watching, as well as see when they do it. But like I said, I think Gabe and Steve, they're just biding their time. So, okay, we're going to wait, and then we're going to try to, basically they'll try to drop back to each other, try to get that big run, and then try to work the outside line. And I honestly think they're going to get that 09 to go with him. So I think I get the vibe from him that he's going to go where the momentum is. And like I said, he just wants to be racy and just try to get up front or get as far forward as he can. So I think that would be possibly their third car. And of course, the other question mark is going to be Jack Walls, as well as the 08 of Bob Fitzgerald. What lanes do they take? Because even if they're not just pushing and shoving, that extra car will help that draft out.
Absolutely, yeah. And we'll see. I mean, obviously the 80 and the 27 may have enough to get alongside the 85. They may have enough of a run to get alongside even the 11. And at that point, it's just going to be side draft and whoever can push the hardest without blowing up. But you see 2 laps to go here. There's still a disconnect between the 88 and the 27. They're leaning back, and you see the 27 is getting to the back bumper of the 88. Are they going to try and make their move down the back straightaway this time by, or are they going to try to make their move off of 4 coming to the white flag?
I think it's happening now.
Got some momentum that's building down the back straightaway, and they're going to go to the high side, and they're going to get even with the 83. They're going to try and get even with the 5 and try to make more progress out of turn number 4 as we come around for the white flag, Gael.
Yep, so say they're coming out of 4 right now. The 85 and the 5 got a little disconnected, and the 85 had been pushing Matt pretty hard, and so I worry about the temperatures as well for the 85. And so now, like I said, first question is, can they get to the white? Answer is yes. So white flag is out. This will be the official race here. So now, like you said, now it's all about the drafting help. Jack's right now staying committed to the bottom, so it's kind of a 2-on-4. But now, like I said, Steve's got to watch his temps. Adam Kilday's got to watch his temps. If either of those cars overheat and blow their motor, that's going to be game over for that line. So now it's all about who can make the biggest pushes here.
On the back straightaway, the 88 has the 27. And they are
a little bit of door contact there.
Further on back, yep, the 85. They are trying to side draft as much as they can. It is still 11. A little bit of a disconnect as Matt tries to get up in front of the 88. He doesn't have the room. That's going to give momentum to the outside lane, the 88 and the 27. As there's more pushing and shoving, and it is going to be a side-by-side drag race. Nobody has momentum. Nobody has the push. Matt's going to have the shortest way around the speedway. Is he going to have enough? Is the 5 going to get to his rear bumper enough to get him push? And it will be enough. Matt Wagner will win this race.
Yeah, he got the big push from Rick there. That's, I think, all he needed to get there. So now the real question, Boomer, is he going to cry in his interview? I think there could be some dramas.
There was, when Pirates of the Caribbean first came out, there was a great quote from that movie when Jack Sparrow said there'll be no living with her after this, talking about Keira Knightley's character, and we'll see. I think he's going to be a little excited after that one. What a great push by the 5 of Rick Sanchez after Adam Kilday and Gabe Butler got side by side and into each other, and really that teammate work, that momentum the 5 still had allowed Rick to get up to Matt and give him that victory here on Thursday night. We've got a few more interviews to get to before we talk to our cohort in Matt Wagner, but let's bring up that finishing race result for you now and try to make sense of everything we got to see here tonight. So obviously we saw the top 5 battle it out, pretty much perfect execution all night long as far as pit roads. I mean, green flag coverage from start to finish, and these were the guys that were in position to to be in the pack every single time they came out with the pack and caught up to it or were ahead of it at all times. And I mean, just to be in the top 5 was very impressive to see from these guys all night long. And obviously we talked about it, even 13 seconds off the pace, Jim Brooks and Carl Lingle, they sit out a little bit longer in that undercut. I think has really got the best of them, but they still held really strong. And I mean, a really, really great execution night for Jim and his return back to the series, and Carl Lingle as well. So, still a very solid effort for them in 6th and 7th. Obviously, Nick Wing was a part of that, got a little bit disconnected there, and he is going to come home about 24 seconds off the lead. Eric Laurie, we saw him. He pitted with his teammates, but unfortunately lost the draft and fell back quite a bit. We saw some issues for Tom Dixon getting off of pit road after that final stop. Dean Wilkinson ended up slowing down to catch back up to him so they could work together about 33 seconds off the pace they will be for tonight. And then we see Seth Groover there. He's going to come home last car on the lead lap. Jeremy Osborne had a bit of an issue that I don't believe we were able to... it looks like Iker Peguero and Jeremy Osborne may have actually had a crash on the final lap, so that's why you see Jeremy Osborne there not completing that final lap. He will be the first car one lap down. And then Bob Fitzgerald, Farid Ayuso, we saw them in the lead pack, but one lap down. Frank Ranger Jr., Ambrose Kniebel, and Brandon Briggs were all running together towards the end, and unfortunately had some bad strategy and or just had some bad pit stops that caught him further back in the pack and never quite able to catch up, especially with a night that went as green as it did. And then the rest of your grid there, obviously we saw Patrick Groover kind of get shuffled out of line, no fault of his own, and get into contact with the inside wall. Nathan Warner there, we saw in the 37, he's going to finish in the top 20. Jack Walls was our first incident of the night that didn't bring out a yellow flag. He will be 2 laps down, and then Iker lost another lap with that last lap incident, so he's going to be the second car 2 laps down. And then we mentioned Jerry Bergeron and Jasper Riza, both of their early retirements tonight. So that is the running order. So now that we're good and organized, why don't we get a few people up in here for some interviews here, Gael?
That sounds good. And I can tell you, I was kind of keeping an eye on that group that you're mentioning at the back. And yeah, unfortunately, there was some contact with fighting for the 6th spot. And so, yeah, the 28, I believe, and the 41 got together. And so that's what dropped them back a little bit. And then it kind of became just a dogfight between Jim and Carl with Jim able to grab that 6th spot. So, but yeah, like you said, we got to chat with some guys. And we're going to kick it off with the number 88 of Gabe Butler, because Gabe and Steve weren't just going to roll out the red carpet for Matt. They were going to make him earn it. And as a unfortunate Gabe, I'm guessing maybe just the numbers weren't on your side tonight at the end. Just unfortunately, Eric got dropped in that final pit stop. But, I mean, you guys gave it hell there at the end. That was a really aggressive but exciting finish there on that last lap.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I told Matt it's about time, man. I'm delighted for him. He finally got one, and he deserved it. And like you said, we weren't going to roll out the red carpet for him. We weren't going to make it easy, and we tried to really pinch him. And then I thought I was going to wreck him there at one point. He kind of came up to side draft, and it's almost like we were net coding, so we had to pull out of it. And Steve did a good job not hitting me, or I definitely would have turned him. But yeah, fun race, caution free. I mean, 1 or 2 little instances there, or incidents, I should say. This car is it gets quite loose, especially when you're pushing somebody on exit. But overall, fun race. Glad for Matt.
Yeah, it definitely was a lot of fun. I mean, we saw execution time in, time out, you and Steve, and honestly, even Eric there until the final pit stop, just a little bit off the draft. But, I mean, you guys practice that a lot in practice, and that's probably one of the biggest things about the Super Speedway Series that, we've said, time and time again, that makes a huge difference, especially when we can have green flag pit stops. You guys were able to execute, and that kind of put you in the position at the end to go for it.
Yeah, it did. And I mean, I guess Matt and Adam and Rick had good pit stops themselves there, because we were kind of a breakaway pack, and myself and Steve were just talking there. We were trying to time it there at the end to just at least get a run and have a go at it. And I said it's going to be 4 against 2, and so we just tried to do what we could, and a little bit unlucky there at the end. But yeah, you're right. The pit stops were a key. It kept us up there and helped us break away from the majority of the field.
So we saw you take the run there down the backstretch in after the or before the white flag, coming to the white flag. Do you think if you were to time that move any sooner or later, it would have worked out any better? I mean, I think with the 2 versus 3, I know it makes it difficult to try and get you guys alongside and try to take advantage of more cars. But do you feel like you executed that as perfectly as you guys possibly could have?
Yeah, I think so. And the reason being, we kind of waited till we got out of 2 to get on the backstretch with 1.5 to go, basically. This car reaches its max temp. Like if we went at the start finish line right away, I don't think Steve would have had the temps to be able to finish it. He might have blown up. So we figured, hey, let's save a half a lap here and get your temps, and he'll have maximum capacity to push. And so, yeah, I think we made the right decision.
Yeah, no, I assume you were kind of managing it there and making sure that you could go the distance. But it was exciting to see you guys try. Obviously, you guys ended up battling really, really hard side by side with the 5 and the 85, but still coming home a solid third place. I mean, obviously, it's a really good top 5 day for both you and Steve. But now we get to roll out that red carpet for you and give you that opportunity for any thanks or shout outs for that third place tonight, Gabe.
Oh yeah, huge shout out to Steve there at the end for a fantastic effort trying to get us up there. And then of course Eric tonight, just a little bit of bad luck there in that last pit stop. We could have really used him, but he ended up at a P9, I believe. So I mean, a good night overall for 3 of us. A good clean race and a lot of fun, and of course you guys up in the booth for doing your wonderful broadcast, and Area 51 for hosting this league every year. It's a blast, and glad to see Jim Brooks back on track. That made my night.
Yeah, definitely made our night as well. But yeah, congratulations once again, Gabe, and good luck. Congrats for the third place, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, fellas, appreciate it.
All right, now I think we got a couple teammates here to bring up that we're working together. The first of which is that number 5 of Rick Sanchez in that Chevrolet.
I was gonna say, do we want to bring them together, or we want to let Matt have the tears by himself without a witness?
Oh, I don't know. I think we need to give Matt his shot on his own. We'll get to Rick here first, maybe, and then we'll get
the bump that did it,
yeah.
Boomer, though. That last bump.
Yeah,
that was what sealed the deal.
Yeah, impressive. You were able to keep that momentum there, Rick. And why don't you tell us all about it?
Oh, the plan, the whole race, was to get together and stay together. We got a little separated on one of the pits, and but we were able to get back together. And then the last pit was perfect. We all came out together, and we were discussing our strategies because we had 2 boot knockers behind us that we were, what they were going to do. We figured they were going to come at the end there, 2 laps to go or so. And he was saying something about, if y'all didn't want to go block them or something like that. And I said, no, we're all going to block them. Our goal is to push you to the win. That's what we're working on. And for us to come in 1 and 2 was perfect. You couldn't ask for it any better, other than Adam being 1, 2, 3. And but that was just hard racing. And yeah, perfect. We were happy, happy campers.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, I mean, it was super exciting, and I think you guys were spot on. I think that was the right call. Was, hey, let's stick together no matter what here at the end. And like I said, I mean, they put on a hell of a charge on that last lap there, but and then again, I mean, and then it got real aggressive, the side drafting, a little bit of door to door contact, but like I said, you were able to keep that car locked on still, and then it, like I said, gave Matt that little extra shove just to propel him just enough to make sure he stayed ahead of Gabe there. But you called it to that pit stop. I mean, the first 2, unfortunately, Adam got a little separated off of you guys, where he still held the draft, but he kind of had to hustle back up there. But then that final stop, the 3 of you came in right out together. And I mean, that made the big difference for you three to be able to almost be able to break away, and that's something Boom and I are noticing where you kind of had to jump out there to let Adam take over on the pushing. I'm guessing the goal was to try to break away from them completely, but then you got to keep your temps in check. And I'm guessing that red light was probably flashing pretty angrily at you.
Yeah, I got as hot as I could get it, and then I said I got to get out of the way, and then let it have him push, and then we were trying to control his temps, waiting for that attack to come at the end, so that he had enough, and he was red there coming to the line, so it was tight. But we knew what's the guy's name?
Gabe.
The other guy.
Steve.
Steven.
Yeah.
We knew he was going to be hot too because he's by himself. He didn't have any help pushing, so we just had to weather the storm,
Yeah, and I know we saw you guys took the game out a little bit. You guys were definitely battling really hard by the time that they got up there, but it looked like it was a lot of fun and a bit of a handful there on that last lap, just trying to give everything you possibly could to your teammates up there and obviously to their teammates in the outside lane.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those races that it seemed like worked out perfect. Couldn't ask for it any better. Like I said, other than the whole team coming in 1, 2, 3, which is very hard to do. And you got two other competitors like Gabe and Steve out there.
Yeah,
but, they were on their own. They didn't have their teammates, and 3 cars is going to be better than 2. So the only thing they had left was side draft, which it gets tight then.
Right. Yeah. At that point, you're just kind of doing what you can to try and dump air on their spoilers, but you guys were obviously able to come home, and the fact that I think the 85 really kind of got most into the 88 there and got a little sideways, and 88 still had some momentum, but you did too, and obviously able to get down and give that bump that we mentioned at the beginning of the interview to Matt and bring him home a winner. So definitely some hard racing for you guys and some great execution on your pit cycles to be the ones that were in the hunt at the end, and want to give you a chance for any thanks or shout outs for that second place finish here tonight, Rick.
Oh, shout out to Area 51 always for awesome league. Green White Checkered putting on a great show for us. Shout out to 4D Simware supporting us, Whiplash Simcams. Shout out to the family, always there for me. Love y'all. And shout out to Maddie for his first win. Love it.
You're going to be able to hold that over his head forever, just so you know. Like, hey, remember when I pushed you to your first Area 51 win? Like, just keep that in your pocket and don't ever let it go, because you're going to need it. Just, I say, because you're have to kind of get him back grounded at some point. So, yeah. And yeah, I was saying, I can tell you, your mom was super happy for you to push Matt to the win. So, I know she wanted you to win, but I think, I'm guessing that's also going to be a real proud moment. That's like, hey, look how selfless my kid is, pushing somebody else to the win. So, yeah.
Yeah, she knows I wanted to push Matt to the win, and actually, Jim and yourself, any of the broadcasters that are racing, I'd love to push y'all to the win. Any of them.
Well, Boomer's going to be coming up soon, so
I'll be back in the car soon and hopefully not throw it away this time. So,
hey, if you're there, you got a bumper behind you.
All right, I love it. Well, congratulations again, Rick, and go ahead, Kyle.
No, I was just saying, yeah, we're gonna keep Rick in here because we had a request to bring in the teammates, so we're gonna grab Adam in, and then we're gonna bring in Mr. Waterworks himself, because I'm pretty sure I heard it as he was crossing the line. I heard some thank yous. They sounded a little choked up. I see you maybe heard in Discord better, Adam and Rick. I say, what were his emotions there on Discord? Maybe he felt he was a little bit private now that we can share with the world.
Man, I made Wagner just he got himself in that position, man, and yeah, it was a good run on his part, and freaking came down to really just temps at the end, and I got desperate there for a little bit of air, and I don't know, it's just a little scuffle coming out of what was it, turn 4, and everything just man, out comes Wagner and Gabe side by side out of 4, and they just went at it to the line.
Nah, so you got, like I said, you threw that last pit stop, obviously, was huge for you. And actually, I do want to quiz you on that too, Adam. Obviously, the first two stops didn't quite go to plan for you. But the third stop, did you do anything different, or just did everything finally click on that last one for you?
Yeah, I just had to get my entry down in after the cones. I was going a bit lower speed just after the yellow cones, and I just had to be a bit more aggressive after that point and get into my box with a bit more momentum. And yeah, we were all just linked up tighter. Luckily on that last pit stop.
I'll say it was a great job. Like I said, great team effort. So, Matt, it didn't take as long as I thought for the house car to get a win, and maybe that's all it took was we just had to throw you in one of our cars instead of one of your own. So, yeah. So, what are the emotions tonight, Matt? You guys were kind of cruising in the back, then made the moves kind of to get towards the front during the pit stop cycles. You guys went the furthest on field than anybody. And then, like I said, that last pit stop kind of did a little bit of a short pit. And actually, Boomer, that's one thing I didn't mention was and I want to ask you guys if you saw that too, Matt. We see the boot knockers, they start dropping to the back. And immediately when I saw that, I was like, all right, I think they're going to try to jump in and kind of undercut the field. And then as soon as they start dropping back, you guys jump in. Was that planned pit stop? Was that, hey, they're starting to drop back, let's beat them to the punch? What was the strategy there in that final stop?
That was 100% planned. So it takes them longer to get organized, and the time it takes them to get organized to go straight to the back. We're going to go ahead and make our stop. If all three of us can stay together, we can stay up front. We can actually beat them out, and we actually did beat them out. I don't know how big of a gap we did when we passed them on the backstretch, but that was a great team effort. And like I said, I couldn't have done without these guys here, Adam and Rick. I can't say anything much about them. This makes this makes my year. This has been a long time coming for me.
That's awesome, brother.
Yeah, I know. This has been a long time coming to getting me a super speedway win. I've been trying so hard, and all the wrecks that I have been involved in, and all the heartbreak, and it just makes Tuesday a little bit better. If I should have ran high and let Teed get the win on that one, and all in all, it's I helped that program, the Indy program, and I come in here. I say, well, the goal was to try and get finished in the top 5. That was the goal. This is more than a goal. This is a win, and I don't know what to say. I really don't.
Yeah, it's definitely been really awesome to watch. Obviously, we're rooting for you here in the broadcast. Very, almost selfishly. Obviously, I try to be impartial as a broadcaster, but we're excited to see you get to victory lane, man. And I mentioned in the final few laps. We've seen time and time again. You've watched it time and time again where whoever gets out ahead for the team boot knocker guys is the one that they push to the victory. That's the one that they commit to. And obviously, Gail mentioned the pit strategy that the three of you have had was near flawless all night long and was the right call at the end to get you guys ahead of the pack. And you had 3 cars to the 2 that the boot knockers had and really put you guys in position to control the race. But obviously, Matt, you were the one who came off of pit road first on that final cycle, and you were the one that got pushed to the win. So it seems like that's just honestly just some good homework, some good studying, obviously some help from Adam and Rick, but it seems like that's just good execution and then some very smart racing from you guys.
Yeah, it's the same thing. We all 3 run together on. I run at a part-time schedule on Mondays, and we're all 3 teammates, and then Saturday too. And whoever's in front of the other is going to push the other guy to the win. That's the way it works, and we got to help each other out. And thank God Adam and Richard were here to help me out, and I love you guys for that. I love you, brothers. I couldn't have done without you guys. 100%.
Yeah, I love being the one pushing you there, man. That was awesome. Perfect.
And we,
Yeah,
we
dude.
did tell him to hold it over you forever, by the way, Matt.
I'm trying not to cry, like a little bit.
It's all right. You're among friends here, Matt. You can do it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm holding it back, but
I'm just teasing you.
I know.
Well, before we let you celebrate with your teammates, though, so I know you got some other friends and family that like to watch these and stuff. So, and then of course maybe going back and watching it afterwards too. So,
Oh, I am.
definitely want to give you the floor here, sir, for any thanks and shouts for that big win here tonight.
I got once again. Number one, I thank you, Adam, and I thank you, Rick. I wouldn't be here talking to you in Victory Lane without you guys. Shout out to Gabe Butler and Stephen Korosek to good clean race to the end. As far as I saw, I got to go back and watch the replay, what happened and all that. And I know Gabe gave me a little bit of a door, but hey, that's just good hard racing. So I can't be mad over that. I got to thank my boys over at TWR. I'm gonna post this broadcast in their Discord and make them watch it, and then hopefully. Oh man, I'm just a loss for words. I'm just speechless. Thank you guys. You guys in the broadcast booth. I love broadcasting with you
You'd
guys.
think after this long, man, you'd have this big speech.
Yeah, I know. I love broadcasting with you guys. I really do. Gael, thank you so much.
Well, we'll let you guys go celebrate and enjoy this one. Matt, say great job. Like I said, Adam, Rick, you guys did awesome job as well. So go enjoy this one, like I said, and looking forward to seeing more of you. And yeah, just great job, all three of you.
Thank you, Gael and Boomer.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Yep, congrats, guys. Solid top 5 night for those guys as they were in the mix there. Obviously, actually top 4, Adam only being passed by Gabe Butler on that final lap. So good execution that we saw. And man, after with some of the random Sundays and Thursdays I've been picking up and some of the off weeks I've had, I don't even know which series is which anymore, but we've definitely had a lot of yellows here lately on Green White Checker TV, and that was a very refreshing green flag all the way start to finish race, and you saw that cream rise to the top as far as pit road execution. I mean, still, we mentioned a lot of guys in the top 10 still. I mean, obviously a great night for Matt, Rick, Gabe, Adam, and Steve in the top 5, but I mean, Jim Brooks and Carl Lingle, executing a lot on pit road still. Nick Wing having a solid night. Eric Laurie just barely getting disconnected from his teammates on the last stop, and those guys, it definitely takes a lot to go from, that little bit of execution that gets you that extra mile, especially when you see how much green flag action we had tonight, and that was definitely very fun to watch and impressive to see how these racers do that here in this league, Gael.
Yeah, I said there's a few that aren't the happiest about it going caution free, namely Jack Walls and Patrick Groover.
Sure.
But yeah, no, like I said, I mean, overall, a really, really clean race. Like I said, a little contact on the final lap as well, unfortunately. But yeah, just amazing job by all the drivers tonight. They ran real hard and yeah, and it was exactly like was mentioned, just no mistakes on pit road. Ryan had it spot on there. And yeah, so you just got to nail the pit stops, get in and out together, and like I said, they executed super well. And so yeah, that was a lot of fun tonight. And yeah, I say, well, I'm curious to see now for Matt as well, with when you kind of, how they always talk about you get one and then from there it seems like you're able to build from there. So I'll be really intrigued to see if that's exactly how it works out for him, if he's able to kind of just get that monkey off his back and then kind of just go back to almost driving without pressure, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. It makes it easier, when you don't have that pressure, that expectation on you for sure. But nonetheless, a very, very great race, and again, very excited for our own Matt Wagner to come home victorious here tonight. So We've got action, plenty of action left here on Green White Checkered TV for season 2 of 2024. We'll promise you we'll start doing some playoff graphics here as we get closer to that cutoff at Talladega in about I think actually 4 weeks time. So we are going to have an off week next week. Obviously, Independence Day here in the United States, the 4th of July. We're going to have that break next week. So wish you all a very happy and safe 4th of July. Enjoy some barbecue, some fireworks, all the fun things. And we'll see you back 1 week after that on July 11th at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And then following that will be Daytona, and that will be the regular season finale. And we will have a 4-week race in the playoffs to crown our champion, the second of 2024. So again, 1 week off, enjoy the holiday, and then come back in 2 weeks' time for Atlanta, 3 weeks' time for Daytona. On the Sunday side of things, we've also got more action coming up, and I think they're actually done with their breaks for the season. They had their off week already, it looks like, as so July 7th, this Sunday, or sorry, no, we still have July 30th, excuse me, June 30th even. June 30th, so this Sunday will be Daytona for them. Then it'll be Talladega on July 7th. Then Atlanta and Daytona for their regular season finale. So Sunday series is a little bit behind the Thursday series here, but they're going to catch up and get back to it the next 4 weeks in a row before they get into their playoffs and finish out their season. So there is going to be racing on Sunday nights for the foreseeable future, starting from June 30th all the way to August 18th. And then on Tuesdays, we have the IndyCar Series, and they are going to be, they just went to Milwaukee 2 days ago. Next week, they're going to be off as well, so they're going to have their off week. And then July 9th, they're going to bring it back to Charlotte before going to Michigan, Gateway, Texas, Kentucky, and Auto Club to run out their season on August 13th. So Sunday series, again, a little bit behind, but they are catching up, working through and around, obviously, the July 4th holiday. And then Tuesday and Thursday will take the break for the holiday for this week. And we'll continue on with all the great action here on Green White Checker TV. So I think that'll be enough for us. Done enough plugging. Obviously, thank our sponsors, 4D Racewear, Whiplash Sim Cams, and obviously Sensi as well for coming on board. Appreciate all of their support and all of the support in the chat from all the people coming in. I know a lot of drivers are having fun in the chat before and after the race, and telling us how everything went, and a bunch of people chiming in. Obviously, Ryan Decker, hope everything is okay there for Dixon, and that you get back to the car soon. But appreciate you joining us for quite a bit of this one, and appreciate all the drivers who love to watch these back. And I think that'll do it for us. For myself, Boomer Logan, and for my good friend Guile Brooks, for race winner Matt Wagner, and the rest of the GWC TV crew, we are going to sign off, say have a great week, a great and safe off week and the holiday, and take care. We'll see you next time.